Hello everyone. Today we are going to focus on how we can upgrade Azure Kubernetes cluster, which is in short form AKS cluster patching. Uh, so this is also one of the responsibilities of the Kubernetes administrator, and you can actually tell in interviews that I've been responsible in terms of monitoring the AKS current versions, managing the Kubernetes versions for the cluster level, node pool level, and everything. And there are different scenarios based on the applications because there are different clusters in the prod environments. Now, how the patching here it is meant as uh, when I try to create a Kubernetes service, if I go ahead and click on this, you'll be seeing what is the Kubernetes version currently uh, we have. And so there is 1.31.7. So few concepts which you have to be aware and see going ahead and enabling upgrading the AKS is quite easy. Everyone just looks at the commands. Okay, what are the available upgrades which are there in AKS in your cluster? You can see that, and you can go ahead and enter the command to go and update the Kubernetes cluster version from 1.31.7 to 1.32.0, something like that. Okay, but in reality, uh, this is not how you can expect questions on. There are few concepts which are involved in Kubernetes patching, and that's one of the reasons why the others were actually trying to specify that in the tutorials. The concepts is first things if we look at how does the patching work or the cluster is getting upgraded in terms of Kubernetes, there are different ways we can upgrade our cluster. Because if we talk about, let me open Paint. If we talk about patching, there are things like you can entirely upgrade your entire AKS cluster, which is your control plane and your worker node. Now this is managed by Azure. Okay, and this is managed by you. Means you're being built for this ones. Okay. Now when you do the entire cluster upgrade, the control plane component and the worker node components, everything Kubernetes versions will be changed. Because when we talk about the architecture, if you would have remembered, the control plane, the we have the architecture Kubernetes architecture components like scheduler, controller plane, control manager, and schedule API server, all these items, right? etcd and all. And whereas in the worker node we have kubelet, kubeproxy, the container runtime, everything. So that's you're seeing the Kubernetes is getting installed all that already there. Now, when you wanted the versions to change, uh, your entire cluster will define updating the entire Kubernetes versions in this both, or you can choose to update only control plane or specific worker nodes. In terms of worker nodes also, which I haven't explained you while we are, because when we go about AKS cluster, the complexity changes based on the organizations, the way they want to utilize. Some organizations will try to maintain one specific node pool and create their cluster, and if there is anything other cluster they have to create, they will create and maintain. Or some organization clusters are so huge that they need to end up creating a lot of node pools. Now, a lot of node pools are in nothing but virtual machine scale sets, which are having a lot of VMs in it. Okay. And those node pools are nothing but worker nodes, the VMs, and these VMSs. And all the node pools may have different Kubernetes versions or maybe having same based on the way you have created it and managing it. Now, when you want to update all the worker nodes, you can just mention that, or you can also mention specific node pools, node pool 1, node pool 2, node pool 3. you can update it. So, so in interview, you can actually say this. There are different scenarios where I've been patching. I've upgraded the entire clusters. There are clusters which I have to go for automatic patching. I don't need to go and manually do patching for this. They can be done automatic patching. Now there are specific clusters which are so complicated that they have a lot of node pools. There are 5 to 3, 4 node pools. Now I have to ensure all the node pools Kubernetes versions are same, or specific node pools in few clusters of those will have a different Kubernetes versions, and I have to go and monitor. So that's the concepts how you can actually tell about it. The other things which are there in this AKS patching are the if you see this 1.3 dot 30.12 something. Okay. So they'll ask you questions like what does 1 represent? What does 30 represent? What does this the second uh, number represents, third number represents, something like that. Now this represents a major patch. We call it generally major patch. If you are referring any of the most of the videos, you will be able to understand that they will try to talk about these concepts. Some will try to directly touch in terms of how do you update the cluster and all that. But I feel they're pretty much very easy to understand. It is just going and running that command that will you give a version and you're going to update it. But the things మీరు ఏం అర్థం చేసుకోవాలంటే the what are the concepts involved in it. So this is a major version patching, and there is minor version patching, and then this is patch. We call this as patch version. Okay. So మీకు కొత్త కొత్త వర్షన్స్ మైనర్ వర్షన్స్ వస్తూనే ఉంటాయి ఎవ్రీ 3 4 months కి you will be seeing Kubernetes releasing a new versions, and automatically Azure will work on uh, supporting that newer versions in their AKS service అనేది అంతా. So you will see keep seeing a lot of things of that, and this is one concept which is there. Next is if we look at how does the upgrade of an AKS cluster works. They were trying to explain here. It adds a new buffer. Say AKS are carefully cardoned and drained to minimize any potential disruptions that are running on applications. So one question which you may get, which I feel is, if you say I'm doing patching and all that of the clusters and all that, you will definitely certain times if there's an architect and all that, they would like to hear how does the AKS cluster upgrade actually works. Okay, so when we are reading that one, there are two concepts, cardoned and drain. What are this? Migu, so there are different worker nodes, different worker nodes. So there are like 100 worker nodes. Let's assume that N1, N2, or VM1, VM2, whatever it is. Node 1, Node 2, Node 3, Node 4, Node 5, Node 6. So it is currently 30.12. I want to upgrade it to newer version of 1.30.13. అలా పెట్టుకోండి. Okay, I want to upgrade or patch it specifically to increase the patch version from 12 to 13, and I wanted to do it. And how does the cardone and range concepts ఏంటి related అంటే first of all, the way IKS cluster will start bringing a buffer node అని అంటాం. Concept is it will bring a buffer node. Okay, so it will create an extra virtual machine, and that virtual machine is like we call it as a buffer node that will have the version one latest version 1.30.13. సో ఇప్పుడు ఈ నోడ్ లో ఆల్రెడీ ఏవో ఒక పాడ్స్ రన్ అవుతూ ఉంటాయి కదా, రైట్? పాడ్ 1, పాడ్ 2, పాడ్ 3 ఇలాగ రన్ అవుతూ ఉండొచ్చు దాంట్లో. ఓకే, ఇప్పుడు ఏం చేస్తంటే కార్డౌన్ అంటే ఏంటి అంటే అర్థం, ఓకే, కొత్తగా ఏ ఈ స్కెడ్యూలర్ పాడ్స్ అయితే ఈ నోడ్ లో క్రియేట్ చేయను. అంటే సపోజ్ ఇట్ నీడ్స్ టు క్రియేట్ 2 more pods అని అంటే those pods will be created in any of those nodes, but not in this node. So it has been cardoned, బ్లాక్ చేసేస్తుంది. ఓకే, దట్ ఈ నోడ్ లోకి అయితే కొత్త పాడ్స్ ఏమీ క్రియేట్ అవ్వకూడదు అని చెప్పి, అది ఒకసారి సెట్ అయిన తర్వాత కమ్యూనికేట్ చేసేసిన తర్వాత కంట్రోల్ ప్లేన్ కి, దెన్ డ్రైనింగ్ స్టార్ట్ అవుతుంది. డ్రైనింగ్ అంటే ఏంటి అంటే, ఈ పాడ్స్ ఏమున్నాయో P1 పాడ్ 2 పాడ్ 3 ఇవన్నీ బఫర్ నోడ్ లో పెట్టేస్తుంది. సో ఇట్ విల్ పుష్ ఆల్ దోస్ పాడ్స్ ఇంటూ దిస్ బఫర్ నోడ్. And after that, once those are being pushed, this is right now an empty node. It doesn't have anything other than that. The pods are not running anything of it. Now that is when it will update 1.130.12 నుంచి 1.30.13 కి అప్డేట్ చేసేస్తుంది. ఇది అప్డేట్ చేసిన తర్వాత, this is an empty node, just like the way if right now I there are this one, but it will be an empty node. When it is an empty node, this will become the buffer node, and this will become N1 node, which will have pod 1, pod 2, pod 3 running in it. And this is the buffer node. And in this buffer node, again the next one, N2 ఎలా అప్డేట్ చేస్తుంది, సేమ్ ఇది ఎలా చేసిందో ఫస్ట్ N2 ఏం చేస్తుంది, కార్డ్ డౌన్ చేసేస్తుంది, సేయింగ్ టు కంట్రోల్ ప్లేన్ డోంట్ సెటప్ ఎనీ పాడ్స్ ఇన్ దిస్, ఎనీ రన్నింగ్ పోర్ట్స్ అప్పుడు ఏం చేస్తుంది, డ్రైన్ చేసేస్తుంది. డ్రైన్ చేసేసి బఫర్ నోడ్ లో పెట్టేస్తుంది. అప్పుడు దిస్ అండ్ దెన్ అప్గ్రేడ్ చేస్తుంది. ఓకే, సో దిస్ ఇస్ హౌ you have to explain the process. Now, how will you explain it? So there are two concepts which will be there involved in this, card owned and drained. So the worker node, which has to be, it will take one by one node and it will upgrade it. So to upgrade it, first thing which it will do is, uh, it will ensure that the node has been card owned so that no new pods are been scheduled in it. And then it will drain the existing pods that are running in those node will be shifted to the buffer node, and then the upgrade version of Kubernetes version will happen. And then that node which has been upgraded, newly upgraded, becomes the buffer node and follows the same process which we have followed it for the upgradation అని చెప్తారు. Okay, now comes, once you understood the concept, the next concept comes is max search. Okay, how many nodes can you simultaneously upgrade? The next concept is how many. ఇప్పుడు నేను ఒక బఫర్ నోడ్ తీసుకొచ్చా, కెన్ ఐ బ్రింగ్ 3-4 బఫర్ నోడ్స్? ఐ కెన్ డూ దట్. ఓకే, సో ఈ మ్యాక్స్ సర్జ్ అనేది నార్మల్ గా, సో హౌ మచ్ ఇస్ ద రికమెండెడ్ సైమల్టేనియస్ అప్గ్రేడేషన్స్ అని అంటే 33% ఆఫ్ యువర్ క్లస్టర్, సో దట్ ది రెస్ట్ ఇస్ రన్నింగ్ ఇన్ ద ఓల్డర్ వన్స్ అనేది అన్నట్టు, ఓల్డర్ వర్షన్స్ లో ఉంటుంది. అంతా అప్గ్రేడ్ అయిన తర్వాత ఇట్ విల్ టేక్, సో నాన్ బిజినెస్ అవర్స్ లో చేసేస్తారు ప్యాచింగ్ అంతా. ఓకే, సో ఇది ఎందుకు మోస్ట్ ఇంపార్టెంట్ అంటే, if you are in you are working in the Indian zones, or mostly non-business hours, you are part of the managing the cluster, you would say not doing it in business hours, you will do it in the non-business hours, where you can say that I was being part of doing it in the evening time zones, time frames, these upgradations and all that అని చెప్పనొచ్చు. Okay, so if I go back again, close it, you would be seeing the same concepts here. Adds a new buffer node to the cluster unspecified Kubernetes version, card downs and drains of one of the old nodes to minimize the disruption of running applications. If you are using max search, then it card downs as many nodes at the same time. Any number of nodes, max search mention చేసినప్పుడు you will mention the percentage also. So when you're doing this upgrade, you will mention here. Okay, so is it control plane only, worker nodes only, ఇవన్నీ కూడా. Okay, సో ఆటోమేటిక్ అప్గ్రేడ్కి వచ్చినప్పటికి ఇట్ ఈస్ ఆటో అప్గ్రేడ్. ఇక్కడికి వచ్చినప్పటికి, సో యూ కెన్ ఆటోమేటిక్లీ అప్గ్రేడ్ ది ఎంటైర్ క్లస్టర్ అండ్ ఆల్ దట్. Now, when we are trying to talk about entire automatic cluster upgrade, so what is the difference between normal manual upgrade and all that? You are telling which version to be upgraded and all that. If you want the cluster to get upgraded by itself, that is when you will mention auto upgrade. Now, this is where there are different uh, things which are involved. Auto upgrade channel, AKS. See, none default. This is what it happens. Okay, you are not telling what to be the managed auto upgrade. But if you are saying patch, that means if you see here, for example, the cluster runs 1.7.7, and the next available patches are there. So how do I get to know? When you're asking cluster here, if you see AZAKs get up hyphen upgrades, giving your resource group and name and the cluster name, it will tell you what are the upgrades which are available. Okay, in that point of view, there are versions which are having 1.17.9, and next minor version increased to 17 to 18, which is 1.18.4. Then we have 1.18.6, then we have 1.19.1. Now, when you mention auto upgrade patch, then it will increase automatically. The patch will increase from 1.17. So your interview question can come like this. So my cluster is maintaining so and so version, and there are the available versions. If I mention patch automatic upgrade patch, the Kubernetes versions will be upgraded to what? It will be updated to 1.17.9 for a patch. Okay. The next available patch version, okay, will be the one what the Kubernetes will be upgraded to. So it will not touch the minor version. And that's what they will say. Automatically upgrade the cluster to the latest supported patch version. When it becomes available, while it keeps the minor version the same. Now you say stable. What does the stable offer? So if you are offering 1.17.7 and these are the versions which are there available, it will take to the next stable versions which is 18.6. Okay. Why not 19.1? So there is a concept called n minus 1. So this is what they would like to hear specifically. When you say stable version, what does a stable version auto upgrade does? It will update the cluster to n minus 1. That means there are like this many versions are there. Okay. Before that, n minus 1 means this one. This is n version means this is n minus 1, this is n minus 2. So n minus version, one version will be taking it to stable. What does the rapid deployment does? So this is new one, which is not sure how to read this. N minus 2. Okay, fine. It's the minor version. That is, if you have 1.17.1, 18, and 19, it is going to take n minus 2 version. In case where the cluster is an n minus 2 version, minor version, then the nth latest minor version just upgrades. So it is a serial order. What I know is it will upgrade one by one. From version 17.1, it will take it to 18.4, 18.6, and then it will take it to 19.1. So that is the one which they have to hear. So because I remember uh, the one that is being looked upon is not saying that it will upgrade to latest version and all that. It will upgrade minor versions. So it is 17, 18, 19, 20. It will upgrade to 18, then 19. In that one, the latest patch versions, okay, will be upgraded to. Okay. So if you see here, 18.4 and 18.6, what is the latest patch version in that one? 18.6. So it has been upgraded to 18.6, and from there it was upgraded to 19.1. So node image, I don't think this they are using. I haven't seen much used in this. But these are the ones you can just say. What are the auto upgrade methods which we have? None, which is not upgrade. You're not choosing to upgrade, which is a default one. Patch, stable, and rapid. So these are the concepts which you have. Okay. I explained, right? How does the upgrading or upgrading your cluster works? The second one is what are the auto upgrade methods we have? Along with it, can we upgrade control plane alone? Can we upgrade worker nodes alone? In worker nodes, can I upgrade specific node pool alone? Okay, all that I mentioned. Okay, so this is what it is, and then again I explained you how the version, this one, this like this is a major version, this is minor version, this is patch version. So these are the concepts which are there involved in the AKS. So go through this, and you will understand more about it. And the commands pretty much is easy to understand here. AZAK get up hyphen upgrades is upgrading your cluster, giving you the get means get upgrades will give you just the what upgrades are available. Hyphen AKS space upgrade gives you what you version you want to upgrade, and you can mention here in this one. So if I go to this command, so when you want to know the options, you can just mention that. Mm, upgrade options.
Rakesh, quick question.
Question. So you can go and see you are going and updating specific node pools here, updating the entire cluster here, and you can mention control plane only hyphen like just like hyphen hyphen Kubernetes hyphen hyphen control hyphen plane only like that. And we generally in most of the organizations they will upgrade it manually. If you here see here what is it they're trying to say? AK nodes are carefully cordoned and drained to minimize any potential disruptions in applications. So there is a chance that there can be disrupt. Think in a customer point of view. I am running a very huge business in my cluster, and if the disruption happens, I will lose a lot of my business or my application is completely down. So I will prefer a manual upgrades than the auto upgrades. And if I'm going for auto upgrade, I will, if at all not really concerned about what it is, then I definitely will go to the patch or stable, uh, based on situations, because the testing has to happen, and the regression testing team should give a update, and if they are directly going and all that they can go. But patch is something which I've seen minor versions will not be updated directly using stable, but it depends on how the application reacts when, and it is an experience based where organizations will adopt based on that patching methods. So they won't choose rapid. That I can say. No one organizations usually will prefer rapid that easily, but they are okay with stable n minus one and or this one patch one. Okay, 1 minute. So this is what I think I was able to answer your question. Any other questions you have, team? In case you have, please post in chat section. So do go try creating it, and it is pretty much easier. You can see your cluster, how when you're creating a cluster, try to create it to the lowest version. Okay, because you see here 13.1.31.7, right? Now you can choose to have it like 1.30.7. Create it, and then try these methods which they were trying to show, right? uh, Auto upgrade patch, auto upgrade, where is this? Auto upgrade stable, auto upgrade rapid, and all that. And see, now when you want to see it, how will you see? You can see get hyphen upgrades. What is your current latest version? Or you can even ask instead of knowing, get to know what upgrades are there. You can just ask, provide a command which will give you the exact version of your cluster. See here, AZAKS show. Okay, will give you the what current version your Kubernetes cluster is running. And if you wanted to get to know the node pool data and all that, so here it is, AZ node pool, show, no, yeah, AKS node pool show, I guess. Okay. Uh, Scale delete machines. You can just search for the commands. Either when you're typing the commands in the terminal, it will show you. It's pretty much easier. AZ node pool help. There we have no case node pool show. It will show you the details of the node pool. There you can get to know the Kubernetes cluster version and all that. So it is named as orchestrator version if I'm remembering it correct. Okay. And this is it. This is mapping. This is completing the tutorials concepts. Now, if we look at what further concepts which we have, uh, we will have to get into discussing about networking one. So if I remember, we covered most of the configuration details. So troubleshooting of containers is left out. Okay. Uh, how we get securing our AKS. So when I'm talking about networking, I'll partly talking about how we can secure our AKS and all that. We are not going advanced in terms of because when we talk about there is certified Kubernetes security specialist, we are not trying to go and focus on CKSS completely. Uh, so we'll try to focus on troubleshooting the containers. Like, how can I go inside the AKS cluster pod container and see what is the issue? Because they're going to ask you that command. Okay. So if once you see and that is done, and how are we monitoring our AKS cluster? Probably a one session video where I'm showing container insights should be sufficient. You can explore more beyond than this. We are not trying to touch more. Uh, it's all preparing your content. See, you got to know right now from this session, uh, this subject. Okay. And doesn't mean that you will be able to, if I ask you questions, you will be able to answer it properly in a trimmed fashion, only unless you prepare for it. So if you're preparing for it, great. Maybe you'll do a great job. Okay, so prepare the subject. That's what most of the people will do. So most of them doesn't know the concepts around it. And few people who knows it, great. They are actually working on how to actually work on it. There are few smart people who know will try to know how to do it simultaneously, how to speak about it. So you, as an interviewer, if you trying to have less time and you wanted to crack, you need to learn how to uh, talk about it and or speak about it comfortably for a couple of minutes. Okay, that's it. Thank you, guys.